Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going deeper underground. Hi. Hi, Zilla. How have you been?
Call me that.
How have you been since '98?
That's their word.
This is the only piece of Godzilla merchandise I own, by the way. I think I've got a T-shirt somewhere, but not official. But I got this when the '98 film came out for Christmas. So
I had some
Christmas
Godzilla stuff.
They had. Do you know what? I remember I got 2 KFC Godzilla toys. One was a hand puppet of, spoiler alert for a 21-year-old film, The Baby, which was basically a smaller version of this.
Oh,
it was pretty great. And they had like this little plasticine mold city in a full place.
I didn't have a full city. I had a couple of buildings.
Yeah, it was a little Godzilla, and you could stomp on them. That was great. That was.
It lasted about 5 minutes until the putty dried out.
Mine lasted a while, actually. I think it's just because I'm a very moist person.
You're so moist.
Anyway, welcome to Big Damn Review / Reaction, where we talk about our reactions to movies now in theatres. I'm Chris. Look at that radioactive iguana Johnson.
Hello.
Demonetised instantly.
Hello, I'm Matthew. Where's my other hand, Watson?
And we're here to talk about 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Or as it's referred to on all the UK posters, Godzilla 2 King of the Monsters. I've not seen that anywhere else. Just on the posters over here.
And not even on all of the posters over here.
No, just the ones in the theatres.
Just some of them it's just Godzilla.
Maybe there are 2 Godzilla films out right now and we weren't aware of it.
Cotton.
Matt, what's the plot of Godzilla King of the Monsters?
There's a plot. So
right, okay, so it's the direct follow-up to 2014's Godzilla.
Yes, it takes place roughly 5-ish years, or however much Millie Bobby Brown is supposed to have aged in that time.
I think they said just over 5 years later, so it's 2020-ish.
It's 2019.
Because
the first one takes place in 2014 when it was released.
And it's also an unsubtle sequel to Kong Skull Island.
It is absolutely the most sequel to Kong Skull Island than anything can be, because it takes every pain to remind you.
I mean, don't be mistaken. Kong Skull Island stuff doesn't follow into this.
No, not at all.
But you knowing that film exists definitely helps you not be distracted by the continuous mentions of Kong and Skull Island.
Skull Island.
Something not mentioned in the first Godzilla at any point. So it's, if you were just watching those 2 movies, you'd be like, wait, what?
It's almost as if they had no idea they were going to do Skull Island when they did Godzilla.
Yeah.
Almost.
Basically, this film is the Batman v Superman of this series before next year's Justice League.
But it's actually very good.
Is it?
We'll get into that. So
it's going to be one of those ones.
Plot-wise, Monarch, the super secret monsters society, have been
from Kong Skull Island.
From Kong Skull Island
and
Godzilla have been monitoring the increasing appearance and discovery of these giant creatures, which they've called Titans, and they found. I think they first count. They say they found
17 and counting.
17 and counting across
18,
the world.
19, 20.
So most of them slumbering.
Yeah.
And the one that they know of most intimately is, of course, Godzilla.
Godzilla.
And you've got Vera Farmiga's Dr. What's her name? Whose name I can't
Emma
recall.
something.
Emma something.
Yeah.
Emma something.
Emma Summit.
Everyone's got great names. Her
memorable character.
She's estranged from her husband. What's his name?
I can't remember his name.
And they also have a daughter played by Millie Bobby Brown.
Maddie.
And they lost their son Andrew in the 2014 Godzilla.
Is it weird I remember Andrew's name but none of the other guys?
Because they say it all the time.
Is it what he would have wanted? It was a 5-year-old. Who knows?
I don't know. The ages of the children in these films are fudged at best.
Hard to describe.
So yes, she has developed something called the Orca.
Based on her husband's prototype.
Yes, because they're both like not biologists, like zoologists.
Zoologists.
Animal people.
He monitors packs
he's off studying wolf packs in the
alpha
wild,
and beta relationships within animal society, and she frowns a lot and builds machines.
Yeah. So she's built the Orca they can sort of use to communicate with, or at least pacify, the titans with acoustic waves.
Because since the events of Godzilla, it's becoming more apparent that like this is not going to stop.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe now is their wake up time. The Mutos and Godzilla were just the first.
Well, they've all been redubbed the Titans at this point.
Yeah.
So
poor Mutos. They're just called the Mutos.
the Mutos, massive unidentified terrestrial organisms.
You know that really sweet moment where they're sort of like nuzzling each other?
Yeah.
Apparently that's sex, according to this movie.
Sexy sex time.
They make a joke about it, which means when you go back to watch the other one, it's like, oh, it's not a sweet moment anymore. They're poking.
There's a lot of jokes in this movie.
Yeah, this is a very funny movie. Whether the jokes land, I guess, is subjective, but they've made it. They've made a very specific effort to keep it light, despite the mass destruction going on.
Back to the plot.
Plot?
There's a bunch of eco-terrorists led by
his elbows are digging into
Alan Jonah Allen, played by Charles Dance, and his face. They kidnap Dr. Emma What's-Her-Name and her daughter and the orca, and they go to wake up Monster Zero, buried in the Arctic, a gigantic three-headed golden dragon thing, which is Godzilla's rival for Alpha of the Titans. And then monster battles ensue and destruction on a huge scale, and just go see the movie. It's great fun. If
you're a fan of the Godzilla franchise from over the decades, you're going to get a lot of joy out of this. It's that one. Oh, I know that one.
It's the
that
most faithful Western adaptation.
Those twins are a reference to something.
Yes.
Which I did not know.
If you even clock that they're twins.
Well, that's the ponytail.
Yes.
And the fact she had the same surname. When they first said it, I was like, how is she there? And why's she got long hair now? And then I spent the next scene going, where's her ponytail?
There was a time skip.
I don't get it. Yeah, well, it must have been because there was an egg incubating. Not a Godzilla egg.
Not a Godzilla.
Like this mother.
Is Godzuki going to come out of it?
I mean, I have theories, but we'll talk. But I didn't enjoy this movie myself.
I very much did.
I wish it did. There was stuff I really enjoyed. I think the cinematography was gorgeous. I think it didn't suffer as badly from the 2014 syndrome of make everything orange or grey and washed out to blend the CGI in and make it more frightening. Like, this one allowed more colour. There are some beautiful, like, wide establishing shots and closing shots for scenes, which you see glimpses of some of them in the trailer, most recent trailer. My favourite shot, weirdly, in the whole thing is the one with the sort of the insectoid legs bursting out,
coming out.
It was a very sort of like, it was like if Tremors were balletic. It was sort of like, that looks amazing. So there's a lot of shots like that I really enjoy.
There are a lot of side titans / kaiju in this movie, but you're going to be spending most of the time with Godzilla, Ghidorah, Rodan and Mothra, the big four children.
The poster childrens of the Godzilla franchise. Yeah. I think it I would be interested to see how someone felt having no familiarity with any of this beyond just the name Godzilla, because I feel like the kick I got from seeing those came from having seen versions of them before.
I don't know, I'm only vaguely familiar with Godzilla, so Japanese Godzilla. But I mean, like, at the moment where they go like the legends call it Rodan, the Firebird, and they sort of give it's given that moment of like, Rodan, and it's like, I wonder how anyone would feel if they hadn't. It's a vague familiarity of Rodan. It's a big old fire pterosaur. Like, what's not to like? Regardless of whether you have that feeling for it to start with, it's a gigantic lizard bird that causes fires. And
a lurd bird.
Like, for me, it's like, I don't know a great deal about Rodan and Mothra and Ghidorah beyond the very basic cultural osmosis bits of them, but I
love that bit.
Kick out of seeing them just.
One thing it does so much, but they took the criticism from Godzilla 2014 on board and definitely tried to steer away from repeating the whole the monster, the disaster, it's about to happen, and we cut away. This time they're like, no, you're going to see it. I personally wish we would have seen it a bit clearer. I would have liked some stylization, maybe.
Money on this.
They have,
because it looks,
and the monsters look amazing.
It looks the business.
Even the dumb Bonsai, Shanzi, and Ed version of Ghidorah's heads. That was weird.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. All three heads have personalities.
Minor spoiler alert. One of them has a personality. It's just a bit dumb. Okay, but then it doesn't after that scene.
It has 3 heads.
It's almost like it changes in some way, but it's.
I wonder what that might be.
For me, the pros and cons are simply like the cons were I didn't like any of our characters. They felt flat. Sometimes because of performance, sometimes because of the writing. I felt like we almost focused on them too much during the fight scenes, because unlike Godzilla, where it was a metaphor for, climate change. I mean, this movie's a climate change metaphor.
Yeah, it's not subtle about. Nothing's subtle about this movie, but that is not subtle at all.
But that's very true to Godzilla as a franchise. The first movie was about Hiroshima, volcanoes.
Like traditionally, they've been about the dangers of nuclear. Power, not nuclear power, but nuclear weapons. The
2014 one's got that, but it's also terrorism and the ecosystem of the planet and what it's doing, climate change, etc. This one does that too, but I almost wish it was more focused on just showing really cool stuff with the monsters. For me personally, I didn't feel like we got enough monster carnage. I felt like we kept going back to these boring people and their metaphor explanations through very heavy-handed dialogue for what was happening.
See, I did like all the characters, paper thin as they are, and they are absolutely.
They're very Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this kind of what it felt like. It did feel like a very straightforward. Here is a reason for everything that's happening. Now let's just go and make it happen.
I think I just wanted more of the happen.
We need another reason for something else to happen, so the story doesn't end. Okay, now we're doing something else and we're going here. Okay, and it gave me enough narrative glue for it to all stick together and go. Okay, yeah, I'm in for this. I'm down for this.
Game. I'm down.
I actually care about these
thin people. Some of them make bizarre
sketches.
Choices. They make bizarre choices.
I don't know. I think our tech guy, our Hollow Earth tech guy, might be the best character in it.
Not enough Middleditch.
No,
he sort of gets a few Middleditchian things to do, and then he's just sort of there going, "What was that?" And it's like, no, let Thomas Middleditch be Thomas Middleditch. Let him Middleditch it right up.
I know. I think.
Wait, one side is sharp for cutting, and the other is blunt for licking. See, how else would you lick a clown? If you've never seen the Pete Holmes Street Fighter or X-Men sketches, please watch them. They're on YouTube.
Ken Watanabe is clearly having a whale of a time.
And not just, sorry about the wind noise, not just in the movie.
Yeah, just in
on
general.
the press tour for this film, he's been having a ball.
Ken Watanabe's loving
He and Sally Hawkins are the only returners, aren't they, from the previous film?
Yeah.
I was surprised they didn't bring someone from Skull Island in.
Well, you'd have to
in
get
age makeup or something, or even just archive footage of Hiddleston's character giving an interview.
Hiddleston and Brie Larson are both pretty busy at the moment.
Are they?
Well,
yes.
And also old age. They spent all the money on the monsters. They can't afford any old age makeup.
True. But
I think they shot most of this 2 years ago as well.
Oh, we shot a while back.
They spent a long time in post-production, probably because there's so many enormous monster fights. Still not enough, apparently.
Millie Bobby Brown, could you stand on this rooftop for another 20 minutes? We need to get one more shot of you in the rain looking concerned. Isn't that child cruelty?
I think she's good in this, though.
It's child cruelty.
I think she's really good in this. Because this is her first film.
She's okay.
Her first proper film.
She's okay.
And she's fine. She's good in this. She gets.
Fine.
I think it's one of those. I think it's for me. It's a credit to the performance because they get to do a lot with very little. So much of it is in the performance because
Ken Watanabe especially.
Yeah.
His character feels like there's a lot more weight behind him than I think the script goes anywhere near giving him.
Which is what happens when you get Ken Watanabe in to do a thing.
It's very true. I mean, even in Detective Pikachu, he had 2 scenes, 3 scenes. At one point, you believed he was a snubble.
Yeah. I know, right? So that for me is its strength. Is it knows exactly what it is. It knows that it is not a deep
clever
piece
subtle. Life-changing media.
I wouldn't say it was stupid, though. I don't think it's dumb.
I don't think it is dumb.
I think it knows exactly what it's aiming for and it executes it, for me, pretty much perfectly. And the fact that the characters are thin and underdeveloped means that the work has to come from the actors, which they do. And then you've got the monsters themselves have character, which is impressive. Because some of them don't look human at all.
Oh,
you can't read any human
Mothra is the
features
most
into
expressive performance in the film, I think.
And yet,
its face is just one non-moving pair of eyes.
It's the least humanized of the 4 main titans.
Yeah.
Even
Rodan's quite expressive, isn't he?
Godzilla, they've tweaked the Godzilla design to make him a bit more expressive, which is nice. I really like the.
I love his snout.
I love his snout, his bear-like snout.
I love how thick he is.
Yeah, well, they mock him in Japan for that.
Yeah, they hate it.
They call him
Japan.
Godzilla Deluxe.
Even though,
Fat Godzilla.
look at OG Godzilla from the very first film. It's a similar look.
Yeah.
You know, we stand a thick boy.
Because they make him mountain shaped. He's got a bigger foot. His feet are bigger in this as well than the are in the 2014 one.
Yeah,
makes more sense. And Ghidorah, I just think the texture work on Ghidorah. He looks like an old timey stop motion model.
Yeah,
and
it's very Harryhausen.
He's got that texture to him, that sort of plasticine texture, which feeds into the plot and gives him a sort of otherworldliness that Titans don't quite have.
Yes,
Ghidorah is fucking cool.
It is pretty cool, and I can see why
he's got a mean streak. He's sadistic.
Yeah,
in a way that the others are.
Very minor spoilers. Ghidorah's in a lot of the movie, so go get your Ghidorah fill.
Yes.
Go get your king size Ghidorah fill.
King size. Ghidorah.
Favorite thing about the film? Be it a moment.
I think we've got the final smackdown, and
it's pretty impressive.
It's pretty spectacular. I mean, they pretty much level the entirety of an East Coast American city. Not the biggest one, but a big one. And it's very satisfying, I thought.
It's like, you remember the dudes in suits smacking each other in the model towns? This is what we could make that look like now.
Is that, but it looks good.
For me, it was one shot, and I won't say anything, but if you go and see it, it was this shot in water. That.
Oh yeah, that was
blinking
pretty good.
That was beautiful.
That was pretty damn good.
And then the little button on that moment was nice. It made everyone in the theatre go like, well, do something, but I won't say what. That's my favourite shot in the film.
This movie even gave me a couple of unintentional jump scares.
It did. Oh, there's a few.
Yeah.
So
it's really good.
I
enjoyed it.
We are amicably divided on our opinion of the film.
Always.
Because boys and girls, you can like something that someone else doesn't like, and you can not like something that someone else likes, and still get on. I mean, we're going to have great sex after this video. So,
with who? Oh, okay.
Obviously. If you've seen Godzilla King of the Monsters and want to let us know what you think, please let us know in the comments down below.
It's a bit dry.
It's not been in the moist room with the clay.
Okay.
Alright. God.
Cool.
If you want to hear our spoiler-filled thoughts on Godzilla, also known as spoiler-filled thoughts on Godzilla, you can hear them this week on the Big Damn Cast, episode 154? 154, my God. How many?
Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Any questions you have about Godzilla, do send them to us. Any songs like that, do that too. We'll see you very soon. Go on, give him the... Oh, got a frog in my throat. Don't mind telling you.